Good evening. It's Tuesday, July 7th, 2026 at 6:30 PM. This is a City of Franklin Common Council meeting. Madam Clerk, will you please take the roll?
Mayor Nelson.
Here.
Alderman Johnson.
Here.
Alderwoman Eichman.
Here.
Alderman Hassan.
Here.
Alderwoman Kresovic.
Here.
Alderman Salus.
Here.
Alderwoman Kenny.
Here.
Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Next up is a proclamation in recognition of the Muslim American Heritage Month. I'll be reading a mayoral proclamation over there, as we did last year. If there could be members of the community that could want to step over there, and I'll read it. Mr. Salus, you can come over here as well.
You should go.
Diane.
Hello? Okay, this is a proclamation in recognition of Muslim American Heritage Month. Whereas Muslims make up nearly 25% of the global population and Islam is the world's fastest growing religion. And whereas Muslims around the world and in the United States specifically constitute a racially and culturally diverse group that is bound together by a shared belief in love as strength and unity as power. And whereas the Wisconsin Muslim Civic Foundation empowers and amplifies the voices of the Wisconsin Muslim community through civic engagement, research, and advocacy, striving to foster a more inclusive and equitable society for all Wisconsinites. And whereas, while Muslims make substantial contributions to virtually every aspect of society, including businesses, academia, law, healthcare, military, and more, we acknowledge that the history and contributions of Muslim Americans in our country are often neglected or defaced by prejudice, discrimination, Islamophobia. Whereas on this occasion we recommit ourselves to standing against hate and injustice in all forms and to combat anti-Muslim rhetoric through awareness, education, community, and meaningful action. Whereas Franklin is home to a vibrant Muslim community that plays an essential role in forming and fundamentally enriching the unique character of our state and nation. And whereas today, the City of Franklin joins together all faiths and backgrounds in celebrating our Muslim friends and neighbors and the cultural and religious heritage of the Muslim community. Now therefore, I, John R. Nelson, Mayor of the City of Franklin, hereby recognize July 7th, 2026 as Muslim Heritage Month. And I know that Alderman Salus would like to say a few words.
To our friends in the Muslim community, welcome to the City of Franklin. We are proud to have you and honored to have you with us here today. Congratulations. Proclamation. I would like to add a couple words. You know, in the City of Franklin, diversity is not something that we just simply talk about. It's not a political slogan. It is something we actually practice on a daily basis. From different corners of the world, there's many people come from different ethnic backgrounds, different cultures, different faith communities, and they come to Franklin, and what's common among all those people, they call the City of Franklin home. And the Muslim community is very much part of that bigger story. Their contribution to the business community, to the economy, to education, to public service will continue to enrich our city on a daily basis. This proclamation today is not simply a recognition. It is a reminder to all of us that unless we value every single citizen within our community, We want to make sure that everyone that feel that they are valued, their voice heard, and they are included. With that spirit in mind, I stand with all of you today to celebrate the diversity that made our city exceptional. Thank you. I want to conclude. Thank you.
Yeah, it was very nice. Item up next is B2, citizen comment period. Any citizen wishing to speak, please approach the podium, state your name and address for the record. You've got 3 minutes maximum. I will be the timekeeper. Colonel, you have to test it to your first.
Testing.
Not yet, sir.
I will push the button.
Oh, don't push buttons.
Testing. Oh,
There you go.
awesome. My name is Robert Montgomery. I live at 8570 South 116th Street in Franklin, Wisconsin. I'm here today to compliment all the people, all the public servants up in front. I know they don't get paid a lot, but they do a lot of work. Unfortunately, that's not true. I'm as close.
I can hear you, but they can't hear you well.
Okay, everybody at home who can't hear me, I will speak up, and then when you tell me to be quiet, I'll try to be quiet. I'd like to say that I'd like to thank all the people that work for the city of Franklin. They do an outstanding job. I personally know that some of the older people don't get paid a lot of money, so it really is a work of love. They just like what they do. Unfortunately, I have some bad news for the city of Franklin. They actually have an employee that gets paid almost $500,000 a year. At least that's my understanding, $500,000. Now that disturbs me, why somebody would get paid $240 an hour to be the city engineer. And people want to say, well, who is the city engineer? It's Mike Paulus. Now, why would the city pay almost $500,000 a year to one person? I don't know. There's no explanation for that. But I find it disturbing that a city believes, potentially, that $500,000 a year is an appropriate salary when none of the people up there get paid $500,000. So Mike Paulus, who's the city engineer, allegedly gets almost $500,000 a year to provide services to the city of Franklin. Now, why that hasn't been corrected, I do not know. I would think that you could probably get a city engineer for $140, $150, but the city of Franklin pays 3 times as much as what the average city engineer would get. And it distresses me because I don't know about you, but living in Franklin can be expensive. And when we're spending that much money for one person to provide service, it makes me wonder why somebody isn't replacing them with a less expensive alternative. I don't know the background. Hopefully that the alderwoman and aldermen and the mayor will say, we're spending almost $500,000 a year for one services to one person. I could be wrong, but
You're wrong, but we'll be
I
discussing.
get a response. This is unique when it comes to a citizen
Well,
comment.
because we're not supposed to go back and forth, but when I hear something that absurd, I'm sorry I had to, Doc. had
I
to.
was told
Colonel.
$240 an hour is what he gets paid. Now, if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. If he gets paid $50 an hour, that's one thing. But I think it deserves comment and review.
Fair
Because
enough.
if we're spending more than $150,000 a year for his services, that's a problem. So I look forward to maybe a solution coming up. Maybe somebody can clarify that. Thank you for your
I-
time.
I can clarify that right now. He does not work 2,080 hours a year for the city. We do not pay 500,000 for him. He is a consultant for the city. He is the city's engineer. And he also, for all the reviews, we charge back for reviews. So that money, whatever we are charging for services, we are recouping on the projects that are not city projects.
Well, that's good. When I first heard it was $240 an hour, I was stunned, to say the least.
I will tell you that that's actually pretty low. Counterparts in other communities that do the same thing, the same consulting, I've seen as recent as $275 an hour.
Oh, so we're getting a deal at 240.
We are. We're
Good to know.
getting the Franklin discount because he's from here or he lives here for a long time and he cares.
Okay. Well, let's see if we can get that down to 220. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
That car looks fast.
Thank you, Andy.
No, I won't count the time till you get there, Andy.
Andrew Pelkey, 9320 West Grandview Court. I recently came across this quote attributed to Eleanor Roosevelt. Great minds discuss ideas. Average minds discuss events. Small minds discuss people. I think there's an important lesson in this quote. Events tell us what happened. Ideas tell us why it happened. People are simply the people involved. If we only discuss the event, we know what happened, not why it happened. We know the facts, but we don't understand them. If we skip asking why and jump straight to discussing the people involved, the conversation turns to gossip. Once the gossip starts, the discussion never gets back to the idea. I'd like to give you an example. Before the council voted to approve the approximate $15 million in public financing for the Potts General redevelopment project, I submitted a memorandum identifying several factual representations that I believe were materially false or misleading and challenged the statutory findings that relied upon them. I expected the city to do one of two things, either rebut my analysis or acknowledge that the factual basis for its statutory findings needed to be reconsidered. Neither one happened. Instead, the discussion, instead of discussing the factual questions I raised, the discussion shifted to who I was supposedly working with. Once the discussion became about me instead of the memorandum, it never got back to the memorandum. This is not good governance. Good governance is not the process of deciding which citizens we listen to and which we don't. Good governance requires leaders to recognize when gossip has replaced discussion of the idea and bring the discussion back to the idea. So tonight I have two requests. First, please make sure that you and your colleagues stay focused on the issues, recognize when discussion has drifted into gossip, and bring the discussion back to the idea. It does not matter who brings up the idea. We talked in the proclamation about the Muslims and wanting to be heard. Yes, everybody has a right to be heard. So let's not think about, well, who brought the idea forward, because maybe we talk about it or maybe we dismiss it. That's not good governance. Second, I asked the city to apply the same principle here by returning to the memorandum and either rebutting my analysis or acknowledging that the factual basis for the statutory findings should be reconsidered. That's it. Thank you very much.
Hello, Steve Suhasek, 4610 West Drexel Avenue. And I'm not here to complain about a once-a-year weekend concert or the occasional baseball game. I'm here to address a 7-a-day week, up to 16-hour-a-day issue. Behind my home are pickleball courts at the Pleasant View Nature Preserve. The pickleball courts have been a thorn in my side since they were first installed over 2 years ago. I've called the police multiple times in those 2 years for noise complaints. And the last time they told me to spend more time inside, which is not a realistic resolution. While the players screaming and shouting after every point is bad enough, I've done research on the constant poppy noise that the paddles make and the health-related issues associated with them. The physiological stress, chronic exposure has been linked to disruptive sleep, elevated heart rate, and cardiovascular issues. Psychological impact, the constant popping noise at that decibel level can cause severe distress, anxiety, and PTSD-like symptoms. Many nearby residents surrounding these courts report feelings of extreme irritability and trauma. I've done lots of research on how other communities have dealt with similar complaints as mine. And due to my limited time at this council, these are some of my findings. By restricting time limits of when pickleball courts can operate would help alleviate some of my complaints. Some days people start playing at 5:30 in the morning, and where I'm physically wake up to them in my bedroom. Restricting the time, as for example, from 8 a.m. to 7 p.m., would allow my neighbors and I to have some relief from the constant auditory assault that we are experiencing on a daily basis. Franklin just spent $5 million a few years back to resurface all the tennis courts in our community, which now, because of the pickleball noise, do not get used very often. I suggest having a pickleball free day once a week to allow these tennis players to play their game in peace. I know that was Mayor Olson's decision, Mayor Nelson, but it seems like a big waste of money if hardly anyone uses them anymore. I have also done research on the equipment and sound dampening measures that can be done to the courts themselves. Installing courtside acoustic barriers would help reduce the noise by up to 20 decibels. Currently, there's only wind barriers installed, which do nothing to block the sound. There are also state-of-the-art quiet pickleball paddles that cut the noise almost in half. And there are also foam cord pickleballs on the market that can cut the noise up to 80%. And I don't expect the changes to happen overnight. And I hope you take this complaint as a serious matter. From a Franklin resident for over a decade, a taxpayer, and a registered voter, I want to find a solution and hope that we can get the pickleball added to an agenda item in the next couple of months so we can get more in depth on what I have stated here today. And I do plan to start a petition so you know that I have backing from my local Franklin residents. This is just not a me problem. It's not just my neighbor's problem. It's not just a Franklin problem.
You're at
and
3,
it's
sir.
not. Thank you.
But now we've been playing phone tag, so I'm gonna call you tomorrow, because we'll talk more about this.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Absolutely. Hello.
Hi, I'm Danielle Moritz, 8463 West Putes Road. I'm here today on behalf of my husband and I to just discuss a little bit, as a resident of the south side of Putes Road, the proposed bike and/or multi-use path. We've been residents for about 2.5 years. We chose our home specifically for the nice security and privacy. And unfortunately, we feel, along with most of the population on the south side, the impacted side, that we're really being deprived of safety, security, and privacy. The proposed path creates large numbers of new bicycle and pedestrian vehicle conflict points at every single driveway. Anyone who's pulled in and out of my driveway knows you got to pull in and out 3 times in order to dodge the traffic, just like Frogger, as you go through. The worry about the traffic, along with additional constraints of the bicycles, pedestrians, and other things crossing our driveways, is a concern. And those conflict points will create chaos or accidents at some point. Conflict points create accidents. Nobody wants them. It just happens, even if we're all being as careful as we can. We also feel like this will reduce our security. Recent incidents on nearby trail systems haven't made it feel any better to have people closer to our homes. 20 feet closer to our homes, I certainly don't want it. I don't want anyone I don't know that close to my home, and I'm sure you guys don't either. Those of us who are impacted feel very passionately about this. We're also not hearing any mitigating measures of different things that Franklin could put in place or allow for us for security cameras. Most of us are going to install additional security measures. just to feel safe in our own homes that we paid for. And last is privacy. This project creates a disproportionate burden on a small group of homeowners, permanently taking approximately 20 feet of frontage and placing a heavily used public corridor immediately adjacent to private property. You're inviting these people in. If we add any security or privacy measures, fencing, we add additional bushes, if we add additional items so that we can feel more secure and have privacy in our own homes, we're actually causing a conflict of safety for the people who are traversing this path, and that's something I'm not willing to do either. Well, we don't necessarily immediately want to get rid of the whole idea of a bike path. I think the current proposed solution really disproportionately impacts the people on the south side of the road. When we were at the last listening session at the library, we were told we would have access to data, and that if the residents on this side didn't want it, we wouldn't necessarily have to have it the way it is. I haven't seen any data on any website. I don't know, and what we've asked for is, what is the additional cost of having this? We know that paths break down. There's a cost for maintaining them. There's a cost for plowing in the winter. What is that cost that Franklin will bear? Additionally, what is the information on how this process actually works?
Finish your thought, that's fine, ma'am.
So we're looking to understand, and I may have missed this in civics that day, but what is the process? Where are we at in the process? Nobody could tell us exactly where we're at. I've heard everything from, it's already passed, just suck it up and
No,
deal, to,
never.
hey, we've got opportunities.
Okay, let me respond to you. So real quick, no, nobody up here, I'm not gonna speak for anybody, would ever say, suck it up and you're taking it. Nobody. So that never happened. And or if you did hear it, you need to confront whoever said it. And I was at the library at the last meeting, so was Alderwoman and Common Council President Michelle Eichmann, and we don't have all that data yet. And when the data comes back, dealing with Mr. Paulus here, city engineer, that data will be presented. But there's a lot of moving parts. We're not anywhere near it yet, okay? But we will get it back. Alderwoman?
Thank you. And we, as the mayor stated, we don't have those surveys yet. And I do have your contact information, Danielle, so I will share that with your new alderman as well, so he can reach out to you on that, and you can always reach out to me as well. So I do have her number and email, but I'll get to you. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you. Absolutely. Good evening.
Hi, my name is Lynn Service, 8401
Can you pull that down?
West
you.
Putes Road in Franklin. My husband and I have owned a property on Putes Road for 17 years. We attended the meetings in October 2025 and May 2026 to express our disapproval of the Putes Road project. We submitted letters to our aldermen and the planning committee. These letters were never acknowledged. We are here today to say that a 10-foot wide surface that permits motorized and electric devices traveling up to 25 miles per hour is not a pathway. It is an alternative roadway. So I hope that we kind of call it what it really is. I think the project is ill-conceived and not in keeping with the aesthetics of Putes Road, which is a residential neighborhood. The negative consequences that my family will suffer are significant loss of privacy, increased noise, and litter. There are safety concerns, and I have to say the saleability of my house is now reduced. Those of us who live on Putes are going to be the ones who are going to lose the most. We deserve transparency and accountability. So I ask you, first, who raised the original proposal? How was it determined to move forward with a grant application? Why wasn't a public meeting held before a grant application was submitted? Two, the two public meetings I attended were populated by people who expressed negative, even hostile reactions to the proposal. Our alderman was not present, at least not during the time that I was there. I didn't see any official taking notes regarding people's reactions. I did not get any response to the questions I raised regarding what I needed to do to stop this project. The engineers who were present were all about the build and not interested in my concerns about the impact on my family's quality of life. Three, what stage is the project at? How was the stage reached? What did you use to make decisions? Personal impressions, votes? What sort of information did you use? which elected officials offered their support for this project? What is the empirical evidence that supports your decision regarding the acceptability of this proposal? And fourth, what can I do to have an impact on this project? So please be aware that I'm defending my home and not just a building and lawn space. I respectfully suggest that if you really support this roadway as a vital project for Franklin, that you find an alternative location. Thank you.
Kelly, do you have a card? Or maybe get her information. Hello, ma'am.
Hi.
Should I start?
Yeah. Ma'am, our Director of Administration is going to give you a card, and when we get your information, I'll follow up with you on where we're at with everything. Okay, you're welcome.
My name is Gail Dukas, and I live at 8113 West Putes Road. I'm here today to speak up against the proposed Putes Road Pathway project. I've been a long-time Franklin resident, having lived here for over 25 years. I'm a retired Milwaukee County employee. I volunteer at my church and at Forte Theater. I've also volunteered at various City of Franklin events such as the Civic Celebration. Our property is somewhat unique in that it dates back to 1839. The barn and the milk house, are original to the property. What drew us to this property was the forest-like landscape with all the mature trees. We have tried to maintain this charm throughout the years we have lived there. 2 years ago, there was a gas main replacement and a street repaving, which resulted in the majority of our mature trees in front of the barn being removed. Then we found out that the city was going to move ahead with the pathway project. We attended all the meetings and submitted our comments. At these meetings, we had no aldermanic representation. Michelle Eichmann was alderman for the 2nd district, was on hand supporting her constituents. Many of us called our alderman, John Pecorelli, who did not return our calls and has since resigned. We feel that we did not have adequate representation during the decision-making process. At the recent meeting, we were asked to vote on a preferred option for the construction of the pathway. After that meeting, we were told that based on the votes, the pathway would be built on the south side of Putes Road. I believe that people living in the neighboring subdivisions were able to vote on these options. If the city would ask the homeowners who are being directly impacted, they would find that the majority of these people are against the pathway being placed in front of their houses. I think further input from these homeowners is warranted. At the last meeting that was held, we found out that 5 more of our mature trees may be slated for removal. These trees are all on or near the property line. The removal of these trees and the building of the pathway in front of our house will detract from the beauty, history, and serenity of the property, and I ask that you reevaluate your decision to go ahead with this project. Thank you for allowing me to voice my opinion against the construction of the pathway on the south side of Putes Road.
Thank you, ma'am. Hello, sir.
James Coulard, 7841 South North Cape Road, and I also live on 8401 West Putes with my wife. The path to nowhere. Where does this path go? That's what the major stipulation is. It doesn't connect to nothing. 76 and Putes, there's a sidewalk on the north side or on the west side of the street, but it doesn't go down to the ballparks. Okay? Why is there something that has to go down Putes when you have the Oak Leaf Trail on Drexel Avenue that could be a main hub into downtown Franklin, which I call City Hall, Target, that area, which has sidewalks. If you put that path there, all the way down, you can connect to the trails that go to Hales Corners, Muskego. It makes logical. It's by the transit tracks, by our house, you know. So
Very well.
it just, why, since you did the remodel on our street, we have more traffic than normal. The little bandits, I call them, on their electric bikes, nobody polices them. They're all over the place. They cut you off. More accidents, you probably see that in the areas, people that are driving around. It doesn't belong on Putes. That's all I'm saying. And there is wetlands there. My dad had the salvage yard for 50 some years on 45 next to Waste Management. We had cattails or whatever, swampland there. Couldn't do nothing on the property. 3 acres of land, couldn't do nothing. Now, you're going to destroy 2 wetlands, putting in a path? There's 2 wetlands on Putes Road. Did you guys, what's you going to do about that stuff? You know, it shouldn't be there. And just too many people on that road already. It ain't wide enough. Thank you.
So just in a brief response to that is this project has got many more legs to go before it's even to the final stage of a decision. So we've got that. And just one other thing to move on is when they redid our road on North Cape Road, I was vehemently against sidewalks, vehemently. We didn't want them. So what they did with North Cape Road is they paved an extra 2 feet on each side. So that's what's being used. When it was time for Drexel to be redone, they did a 4-foot on the sides. And we've made the Alderwoman, I'm not going to speak for her, but I will right now. You know, nobody wants to support, we're not supporting a 10-foot path, you know, at all. At all. I mean, I have no problem with not supporting it. I don't like it. We want connectivity. We want to make sure that we can connect the city. We've got a pathway on 76th Street that still has to be constructed. About 1,500 feet isn't spoken for yet. So there's a number of moving parts about funding, about connectivity that we're trying to move together on. But we are absolutely aware of, I mean, we were at the last meeting at the library, and that was, I mean, they came out of the woodwork. The neighbors, residents came out of the woodwork against this. And we get it, we listened, we understand. So there's no one's saying, you know, we're moving forward and you're gonna have a 10-foot path in your front yard, we're gonna take down all your trees from 1839. We're not, that's not what we're looking to do. We're looking to simply connect the city, so it's connectivity. So that's it. Seeing no one else, close citizen comment period. Moving on to hearings, we've got, approval of the minutes. C1, regular common council meeting of June 16th, 2026. Is there a motion?
Second.
We have a first and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Is that a motion carries? Special common council meeting approval minutes of July 2nd.
So moved.
First, second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it. Motion carries. There are no hearings under D as in David. E, organizational business. I've made the following appointments for council confirmation. And if we need to take them separately, which I hope we don't, I'm going to read number 1, and then I'll read 1 and 2, put them together. E1 and 2, is that okay? All right. Mayoral aldermanic appointment. A, Alderman Johnson be on the Parks Commission 1 year, unexpired term expiring 4/19 of 27. Alderman Kresovich, Civic Celebrations Commission 2 year, unexpired term expiring June 30th of 2028. Number 2, boards and commission appointments. Ariane Vetrano, 9321 South 94th Street. Alderman D1, Finance Committee 1 year, expiring term April 30th of 2027.
Motion to approve.
Second.
First and a second, roll call, please.
Alderwoman Kenny? Aye. Alderman Salus?
Aye.
Alderwoman Kresovic?
Aye.
Alderman Hassan?
Aye.
Alderman Eggman?
Aye.
Alderman Johnson?
6 ayes, no noes, motion carries. There's no letters and petitions under F as in Frank. Moving fast to G1. Mr. City Engineer, good evening, welcome. Get my thing here. To reject all bids for South Chapel Hill Drive Water Main Relay Project. Mr. City Engineer, you've got the floor.
Thank you. Good evening. So in that area of town, South Chapel Hill Drive, there's been experienced a lot of water main breaks for the last 6 months, 3. So the thought was to, that stretch of roadway is actually in the annual road program. The thought was to try to get the water main replaced, obviously before we replace the roadway. That was the intent. Unfortunately, put the project out to bid, received only 1 bid that was really, really high. So I thought tonight is to reject that bid, put the project out to bid again this fall, give them more time next spring to get it done probably by Labor Day, and then do as part of next year's annual road program to do the streets. And we would send a letter out to the residents telling them, hey, bids came in high, we're going to postpone it by about a year or so, but at this price tag, I cannot recommend moving forward with it.
That's
I'll make the motion.
I'll second.
E6. First and a second, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it, motion carries. G2, stormwater education presentation. The brief presentation. Good evening, welcome, come on up here. Oh, right here.
So this evening, you have a presentation by Christy Heiser, close. Christy Heiser. She's a project manager for Root Pike Watershed Initiative Network. And the reason we're doing this is we have an MS4 permits through the Wisconsin DNR. You may ask, what's an MS4 permit? Municipal Separate Storm Sewer System Permit, MS4. So we are required to have that through DNR because we have a population of 10,000 people or more. And part of that is to have an education component to that, and that's what we're going to do this evening with the presentation, is the educational component of our permit.
Okay, I know all the electeds have this in their binders, so we can move pretty good. Okay.
Thank you for the introduction.
Thanks for coming.
I will keep this to, I'll try to keep it to 10 minutes, and I really appreciate your time. This was decided with the DNR to, I do a lot of work educating the citizens, but also if we can get the elected officials on board, that is great. So I'm the program manager for the Respect Our Waters program. And first is just kind of the different displays that I'm bringing around to your community and how I'm working on educating citizens. And then a few different things from the elected official perspective that you guys could keep in mind. Oh, there's the mic. That you guys can keep in mind, especially as you're approving new developments and landscaping and parks and whatnot. So to meet your permit compliance, we have a few different displays. We have the stormwater space. So this one's all focused on getting more native plants in your landscape and ultimately focusing on those deep root systems and how they soak up more stormwater and prevent pollutants from getting into the Root River, which drains into Lake Michigan. So it's very fun for the kids, and they're playing with little water blasters, and you can see how when everything goes down the sewer, all of the stuff that it brings with it versus native plants soaking everything up, which is lovely. We have our pet waste display, and unfortunately this has to be a whole display with E. coli bacteria issues in the Root River. So picking up after pets is a very low-hanging fruit that we educate the citizens on. The watershed model, so I bring this one around to a lot of, more so to schools, but some public events as well. And that focuses just on all of the different ways that our water is polluted. And then I make it rain on there, and everyone gets to see how these things rush into the rivers. And that one is really great, not only for kids, but for a lot of adults as well that don't necessarily understand how stormwater runoff moves and impacts water quality in their area. The salt display is a newer one, so focusing on just reducing chloride contamination, since according to DNR, chloride levels are rising in every single river and lake across Wisconsin, so it's becoming a very big issue. So this is a new display that we added in just to, spice things up and make sure the citizens are learning new things. So unfortunately, in the Root Pike Basin, all of our rivers are classified as impaired, and that includes the Root River system. And that's coming from the Environmental Protection Agency. They have their 303D impaired waters lists. And you can see the Root River watershed is huge. It's all the yellow area. So many, many citizens outside of Franklin as well that have an impact on one day hopefully getting this river off of the impaired waters list. So the big pollutants and the reason that the Root River landed on the impaired waters list, there's 4 major pollutants. The first is going to be phosphorus, so that's coming from agriculture runoff, it's coming from grass clippings and leaves, it's coming from fertilizers that we put onto our properties, causing a lot of algae blooms. Sediment is the next big pollutant. So from just general stream bank erosion, that could be from construction sites not being set up properly, could also be from agriculture as well. So those are the two major pollutants in the Root River watershed. Chlorides, as I mentioned, are rising. E. coli bacteria issues are also hit or miss throughout the Root River watershed, but that can lead to different beach closures. So it might not be happening in Franklin, but it is happening downstream along Lake Michigan shoreline. Those beaches are closing up frequently over the summers due to E. coli contamination.
And then also just degraded habitats and low dissolved oxygen is another reason why the Root River is landed on the impaired waters list. So the things that, from your perspective, that if you can keep in mind as you're talking to your citizens and looking at different landscaping plans and development plans, is just incorporating more native landscaping. So in the red box, that's your standard turf grass. Those roots are going 3 to 5 inches underneath the ground, so very shallow, very little stormwater is infiltrated. But when you can get those native prairie plants back into the landscape, you can see the roots are going 6 to 15 feet underneath the ground. So you are soaking up way more stormwater, and they're beautiful, and they don't need to be watered, and they don't need the fertilizers. So there's a lot of other benefits to including these native plants in your landscapes. And here's another great picture of those root systems. And then just quick math, if you have 20 square feet planted with native plants, you're getting about 8 gallons of water soaked up per storm. If that same 20 square feet is planted with lawns, you're getting maybe 1 gallon soaked up. So if everyone can do a little bit on their property, all these things really add up throughout the watershed. The other thing is looking at stormwater ponds. So I believe we sent this book out like 2 years ago now, but if you are newer to the board and you would like one, please let me know and I'd be happy to send more. But we developed this stormwater pond playbook working with 2 different engineering firms and the DNR because we wanted to put some costs to different ways to design these ponds. And not only from how they will help water quality, because obviously that's what I'm going to advocate for, but really what matters is how much is it going to cost. So we really tried to take that perspective when designing this guide. And in a perfect world, we would have updated ponds in all these new developments, since that's kind of the go-to when it comes to stormwater management. And that pond right there is something that I would love to avoid. So the circle pond with turf grass up to the edges that is fertilized and then lined with geese, those are really what's driving all of these pollutants into our rivers. If we're navigating how the water is going to move and we put them into these man-made features, if they can have less grass, less geese, and kind of mimic nature a little bit more, it'll take care of some of that pollutant processing on its own. And whoever gets the dredging bill down the road will also, it will benefit them. So a really low-hanging fruit would be to just put native landscaping around the ponds. So instead of lawn, if we can get those native roots and their deep root systems back in the ground, that really helps for not only overland flow, but also stabilizing the banks. So in the winter, when there's a lot of wave action from the ice, or wave action and then the ice hitting the sides of the banks, that's just knocking sediment down into your pond, which is just speeding up your need to dredge it. So especially if there's any ponds that Franklin does manage themselves, that's a great thing to consider that can push that dredging bill down the road. Or my favorite thing is to not use a pond at all and use a regenerative stormwater conveyance system. That is obviously where you need your engineer to look at the different plans and see where it fits, but really it is a very versatile system. And essentially it's like rain gardens hooked up in parallel. And here's one example that was done. This is right on the border of Kenosha and Racine County, working with the Department of Transportation, and it was going to just be a standard stormwater pond here that I mentioned. Instead, we were able to work it and do RSC, as we call them, and this fills up with water, it infiltrates within 72 hours, it blends in with the landscape, more pollutants are processed, it costs just about the same to build, and it saved the farmer that was adjacent about an acre of land, so they can squeak into smaller spaces, which is really great as space is becoming limited with time. Another example of where it's been done on a smaller scale at UW Parkside, they just did one in their ditch line because they were seeing a lot of chloride contamination going into the Pike River. So they also slow the flow of the chloride contamination as well, which is really great, in addition to more sediment, phosphorus, and E. coli reduction as well, which you don't always get with your standard stormwater ponds. The most recent example of a very large one that was done is at Shoreland Lutheran High School. You can kind of see the extent of, they have a constructed wetland down here. This entire thing is a super long RSC. What they were planning before was just 2 giant ponds, as you can see, with just 2 giant berms then, since you have to go somewhere with all of that spoil. And we got to them, we're into the conversation early enough, and were able to, they reworked their stormwater plan and they did an RSC. And it proved to be useful as of this April when we got all of that rain. So it filled up and then that water was gone within 3 days, which is wonderful. Also for mosquitoes as well, which is great to have the water gone. And then kind of what's going on in the surrounding community. In 2023, I ran into these neighbors at a public event like this, and they were showing me all their flooding issues. versus this April when we got all of that rain. You can see things have realigned and they just have a little trickle in their stream or in their ditch line as they should. So it's a great alternative. If you need the pond playbook, I would be happy to send you one. And then constructed wetlands. So if you do have to just do a pond, if you can make it more mimic a wetland, ideally we leave all of our wetlands in place, but that's not what happens necessarily. So being able to mimic those habitat features and pollutant processing just by really changing the topography of the pond and how you plant it can make a big difference in the watershed and your community. The next thing is just attending Saltwise training workshops. I know the DPW staff always attends these, but we put this on with Wisconsin Saltwise, and it's just a really great way to discuss with other municipalities how they're using brine systems and all of these chloride reduction techniques, because 1 teaspoon of road salt is permanently polluting 5 gallons of fresh water, which we do not want. And one thing that was really discussed last year is the desire to have more elected officials attend these trainings. So just because you guys are getting the calls from the citizens, and it kind of takes everybody to be on board and understand how these things work to keep everybody happy. So as that one gets scheduled later this fall, I'll make sure to pass it along to you, and hopefully we will see some of you there. And as mentioned, kind of what we talk about in these trainings, brining, different plow blades, calibration, pavement sensors, weather stations and cameras, snow and ice policies, and all these things that can help not only save your money, but also save your water quality. And this picture is of a workshop talking about calibration, just the importance of if you're not calibrating your trucks, you can see how much salt was being dumped versus after calibrating. That's the correct amount of salt that needs to go on the road. So it's also just saving a lot of money, even if you're not interested in the water quality aspect of things. And then finally, the Root River Watershed Restoration Plan. This is the 9 key element watershed restoration plan that kind of guides the restoration efforts that our organization does as well outside of education and outreach. So if you would ever want to discuss any of these projects that are identified in the plans or get summaries of this plans, if this is your first time hearing about it, it is on our website, and I'd be happy to meet with anybody individually to discuss these things more. And that is your crash course in water quality. Do you have any questions?
Thank you. Questions from the council? Alderwoman?
I just want to say thank you for a thorough presentation. I especially enjoyed the visuals with the root systems. I've seen those before. I wanted to ask you, have you participated at all? The Parks Department, which Clark will now be involved with, puts on the first Saturday in May an Arbor Day presentation where members of the community come in.
Yes, that was actually my first time at this one this season.
Okay.
I went, and that was a great event. So I'm always looking, I have to do 2 active events at minimum. So I'm always looking for different places so I can hit different people and different schools. So
Wonderful, thank you.
Thank you.
Any other questions, comments?
Yes, and if you could just send us that information.
Alderwoman
for-
Eichmann?
Thank you. If you could please just email us that information for this fall, that would be great.
Yeah, absolutely.
I recall seeing that in the past, so thank you.
Sounds good.
Thank you. No action taken. Going on to G3.
All right.
A resolution authorizing certain officials to execute a development agreement for public infrastructure improvements with TKG3 Acquisitions LLC, Storage Mart, 7045 South Lovers Lane Road, Franklin, tax key number 747-9992-005. Mr. City Engineer, still have the floor.
Yes, thank you. So this is a development agreement for the Storage Mart over on Highway 100. Boilerplate agreement that we have with all developments. Part of that involves public infrastructure, water main, and some storm sewer. And included with this, of course, is letter credits for those improvements, just over almost $600,000 letter credit for those public improvements. So we're looking for approval for the approval of the development agreement for Storage Mart.
And this is the new handout at your table.
May I ask what was different?
Okay, hold on. So, Mr. City Attorney, then Alderwoman Kresovich.
I did confer with staff when I saw what was in the agenda packet because some of the numbers didn't match or the improvements. In one spot it said the improvements shall be a water main extension and a hydrant, and then elsewhere it had sewer installations, et cetera. And I know I mentioned the $76,000 in the text of the agreement as being the cost of the improvements. And so anyway, staff was going to make all the changes and then have it available for this meeting. And I only got it when right when I got here, but I'm looking at, paragraph 4 of the development agreement. Full cost of the improvements will include, et cetera, et cetera. The total estimated cost of the improvements is $76,000 as itemized in attached Exhibit D. You go to Exhibit D, and it has a total of $573,880. So I would suggest approval, subject to any corrections by the Director of Administration, Engineering Department, and the City Attorney.
Sounds good.
Motion to approve.
We have a first.
I second it.
You did? First and a second, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it, motion carries. G4, resolution creating tax incremental district number 11, approving its project plan and establishing its boundaries within our city. Mr. Taves, good evening and welcome.
Thank you.
Mr. Reggetz. Oh, we know Mr. Taves from Ellers. He's sporting his Ellers swag. You've got the floor, sir.
John, which,
In
thank
green.
you, Mayor. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen of the council, and thank you for your consideration tonight of the approval of tax incremental district number 11. Yaskawa has expanded and developed its plans for its campus in Franklin for 3 years now, and that's what TID 11 is in support of, the development of that campus. And this all started with the purchase and expansion of the former Transpac building, which fronts Ryan Road between Franklin and Oakwood Park Drives. New construction will continue with a robotics manufacturing building on the northwest corner of the campus. And that'll be followed with a large combined warehouse and manufacturing facility south of the robotics manufacturing site. And then the company's North American headquarters and laboratory and attached parking garage will be built on the northeast corner of the campus. This will all amount to 576,000 square feet of newly constructed building space. And in order to accommodate the 1,000 new jobs that'll be in that space, traffic lights will be moved from 41st Street and West Ryan Road to South Oakwood Park Drive and West Ryan Road. And the city will apply for a transportation enhancement grant, reducing the cost that was expected to half, approximately $165,000. And that will be in support of Yaskawa America's manufacturing operations, which includes manufacturing of industrial robots, motion control products, low, medium voltage AC drives, and solar inverters for numerous industries, including semiconductors, solar, machine tool, automotive, HVAC, pumping, oil, gas, and others. And I read that to you specifically to illustrate what a high-tech advanced manufacturing company Yaskawa America is. And their American headquarters are going to be here in Franklin. So Yaskawa and the city negotiated a pay-go incentive to assist with its development costs and encourage their relocation to Franklin. And TID 11 needs to be created to provide this incentive and establish this excellent company in Franklin. And so approval of TID 11 is before you here tonight. Here also tonight is Mike Salentine, who is the senior campus director with Yaskawa, and he can come up and answer questions at the end of our presentations if you have questions for him. And then, of course, with us also is Todd Taves, who is the senior municipal or financial advisor with Ellers. And with that, I yield the floor to Mr. Taves.
Thanks, John. I've got a quick presentation to just highlight some of the things that John talked about. So tax incremental financing, if you're not familiar with that concept, what occurs is when you create a tax increment district, as of the effective date, and in this case it would be January 1st of 2026 for valuation purposes, whatever property value was within the geographical boundary of the district, and we'll see a map in a second, becomes frozen and is referred to as the base value. In this particular area, the property existing improvements were $73.4 million. That's in the blue area. The purpose of creating a TIF is to expend funds which will cause something to happen. In this case, the campus project that John was talking about.
and that will increase the value in the district over time, and that would be the purple area referred to as the increment. The distinction is that in all properties pay the same tax rate, but the distinction is that the taxes paid on the base value of $73.4 million, they continue to flow to the city, the school district, the technical college, and the county. However, all taxes paid on the incremental value go into a special revenue fund held by the city that's used to pay for the cost of the projects within the district. So in this case, again, 73.4 million as of today, and it's expected that that value will grow to approximately 117 million by the time the TID closes. This is the geographical area for TID number 11. So we've got Ryan Road on the north, Franklin Drive on the west, South Oakwood on the east. Within the red exterior boundary, the green boundary represents the Escala campus footprint. But the overall boundary is denoted by red. This is an industrial district, and the requirement for creating an industrial tax increment district is that at least 50% of the property within the boundaries is zoned and suitable for industrial development. In this case, 85% of the land area within this boundary is currently zoned and suitable for industrial development. John mentioned some of the benefits. To expound on that, the roughly 1 million square foot campus will consist of 576,000 of new facilities, which is the primary driver of the increment. It's over $182 million capital investment within the city of Franklin, expected to create over 1,000 positions with salaries averaging 90,000. So in addition to just the jobs and the increase in property value, we would expect uptick in economic activity through employment, construction employment, workers patronizing city businesses, so overall elevation of economic activity within the city and the region. Within the project plan, we anticipate undertaking $5.2 million in costs. The predominant cost is a development incentive to Yaskawa of $4.2 million. And then the other items included $300,000 for a environmental studies and remediation grant for Willcraft Can. It was mentioned that traffic signals will need to be relocated. That will be a cost to the company with the potential to receive up to $165,000 in reimbursement from the city under the terms of the development agreement. If there's a potential Alice roller expansion, this would be in an area located just outside the TID boundary that would necessitate a utility relocation. That is included in the plan. There will be some costs incurred before tax increment comes in. There's a 2-year delay between the time something's built, taxed, and the revenues come in to the TID fund. So in that interim period, the city will advance funds as needed and recover that cost with interest. And then lastly, administrative expense. Notably, the development incentive to the company would be paid on a pay-as-you-go basis. What that means is the property taxes are paid by the company, and then a portion of those taxes would be paid back. So the city will not be borrowing any money to implement the TID 11 project plan. A couple notes about the development agreement. Again, we've already covered the traffic signal relocation, total cost of $655,000 with a potential reimbursement of $165,000 from the TID. In order to qualify for the maximum $4.2 million incentive, there are occupancy deadlines for the first and each successive building to be built, noted on the table. If the first building is the only building completed, the amount of tax increment that would be flow back to the incentive would be 55%. And then if the successive buildings are created, that percentage will go up to 60 and then 65%. But in all cases, no payments would be made for a period longer than 10 years after occupancy is granted. When we look at it from a cash flow standpoint, on the left-hand side, these are the estimated additions of value based on the company's phasing plan. So through 2033, we anticipate roughly $37.4 million in new value being created. We have some minimal economic appreciation assumed, and at a constant tax rate, if left open for the entire 20 years, the TID would generate approximately $10.8 million in tax increment. When we look at the tax increment coming in on the far left, the 4.2 million incentive coming out, and then the various other project costs, what this indicates is that by the year 2040, the district would be projected to have received enough cumulative revenue that it could repay the balance of the incentive and close roughly 7 years early. From a scheduling standpoint, this has been to the Joint Review Board for the required organizational meeting. It was the subject of a public hearing and received approval from the Plan Commission on June 18th. Should the council approve the tax increment district resolution this evening, it will go back to the Joint Review Board on July 22nd. The Joint Review Board has the final say as to whether or not the district can be created, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
Questions, Alderwoman?
Sorry, I get calls on TIDs a lot, and this one's in my district. I just want to know if I'm saying this correctly. With this particular like pay-as-you-go type TID, my understanding is the city is not absorbing the costs that the business, the developer is, and then they're getting sort of reimbursed over in the future. Is that an inaccurate way to say it?
No, that's an accurate way to say it. So the incentive payment is made solely from the tax increment generated by the company. So in order to earn that, they have to perform.
Okay, because the calls I get are, but we have to pay for the infrastructure, we have to pay for, and I just want that to be very clear to constituents. Okay, thank you.
Alderman?
Yes, thank you. You probably answered my question, but because you talked a little bit too fast, I maybe did not get it. In your summary of findings, there is number one, it says but for the creation for this district. How did you verify the but for? Can you explain, the details of the but for, like, so that this district can be created?
Right, so there's a requirement that, in particular, the Joint Review Board make a finding that but for the creation of the district, the project that's contemplated would not occur. And with these types of industrial location and expansion projects, it's a negotiated process. So in this case, there was a period of negotiations between the city and the company, and it was determined by the city that it was necessary to make this investment to have the company choose Franklin as the location for the expansion.
Thank you.
Okay, is there a motion on this?
Make the motion.
Second.
First and a second by Alderman Salusis. Roll call, please.
Alderman Johnson?
Here, yes.
Alderman Eichmann?
Aye.
Alderman Hassan?
Aye.
Alderman Kresovic?
Aye.
Alderman Hassan? Or, sorry, Salus?
Aye.
Alderman Kenny? Aye.
6 ayes, no noes, motion carries. G5, a resolution, a confirmation of the appointment of Christina M. Lucchese as city attorney for the city of Franklin effective July 7, 2026, pursuant to section 55-1 of the Franklin Municipal Code. Madam Director of Administration.
Yes, so I have brought a resolution forward to approve the appointment or confirm the appointment before you made by Mayor Nelson and supported by administration and also human resources. We have had a special meeting where you had the opportunity to ask Attorney Lucchese any questions, and if you have any additional ones, I am more than happy to answer those for you. However, I did want to, the mayor would like me to point out that I have provided our council and applicable staff with a administrative, here it is, an administrative report and recommendation, and it really kind of goes through, I'm not going to read it all, but I will tell you there's a letter to the mayor and common council, there's a table of contents, there's an executive summary that discusses the purpose of what we were doing, the recruitment process, which we are almost coming up on 1 year. The job description was posted on July 15th of 2025, and that means that it was put out on our website and other applicable websites, including the league. So this has been definitely something that has been well thought out and executed. It's been a year almost in the making. And so, we had the recruitment process, and we are before you recommending for confirmation Attorney Lucchese. Also, part of this information that I handed out includes part 1, the need for organizational modernization. I think that's really key. So it talks about why Franklin is modernizing its legal services, the governing authority, organizational objectives. Part 2 is recruitment, and it outlines our recruitment process. Again, as I had stated, we are coming up on a year actually that we have been holding this position open and also actively recruiting. Then there's a recruitment integrity, the executive recruitment philosophy, organizational fit, the selection of the recommended candidate. And then part 3 is employment, what that employment structure looks like. And we felt that just as my position is not contracted, I am treated as any other employee, the same would be appropriate for the attorney. So she would be a full-time staff employee for the city as the city attorney. This would be the first time in the city's history. So this is a precedent here. This is a big moment. And I think that we've got the right candidate here to lead us forward. So within the employment piece is conditional offer employment. Then we've got the looking forward, building the organization Franklin deserves, and staff recommendation. And then I have a administrative conclusion here, supported by several appendices. I have within here city attorney recruitment timeline. So you can see that this has been a year's worth of active recruitment, not just working through how we were going to do this process, putting the job description together, all of that stuff. This has been actually recruiting actively for almost a year now. All of that took place before this. And then I have the evolution of Franklin's legal services model, which we hope to modernize. And I think that one of the greatest benefits of having a full-time employed city attorney is the accessibility and the ability to be more proactive and be more on the offense versus the defense. I think that there's a lot to be said about somebody that can be here day in and day out with that continuity. There's definitely a lot of project work and also policy work that we could really utilize during that time. I also think that it's really important to emphasize that department heads also absolutely rely on the support of the city attorney. And I think that that's a key function, not just with our electeds and the mayor, who is obviously also elected, but also our staff, the people that are putting together the work that you all are approving and supporting. So that's in here, and obviously, like I said, I'm not going to read all through it, but just highlighting some of this. Appendix C, executive recruitment principles. This goes beyond looking for just somebody that has a law degree. It's about professional experience, technical knowledge. Now I am kind of reading it. Legal judgment, ethical standards, communication skills, collaboration, strategic thinking, problem solving, leadership style, responsiveness, organizational fit, commitment to public service, which I think is huge. Ability to advise elected officials, ability to support department operations, risk management perspective, which I feel is extremely important and something that we can actually implement a stronger plan on, and long-term organizational value. The role of the city attorney is Appendix D, and it just basically talks about, obviously, there's the basic municipal governance and all of the laws that go along with it, like open meetings law, public records, but there's also all the behind-the-scenes work that you have a little bit of from the interaction with our city attorney, Jesse Wesolowski, and department heads, where we are talking about contracts. That's a lot of the work that we tap into our current city attorney for, and that would be no different moving forward. So contracts, procurement, construction. We have land zoning issues, with our new rewrite of the UDO and the master comprehensive plan being updated. These are all areas where I think it's obviously an important role for the community. Public safety, public utilities, intergovernmental relations, litigation, oversight, ethics, economic development. There's a number of things. This is not just one little tiny slice of the pie, but this is somebody that really engages and interacts with all department heads, all of the council, and really somebody that's going to be integral in everything. So that collaborative spirit, the transparency, the training, the support, the sharing of ideas, to quote what Mr. Pelkey had said, doing those things, focusing on those things, and also focusing to move the city forward in this very changing time, especially with economics. I can't say enough about how important this is. And I think that when you look to Appendix E, professional competencies evaluated during recruitment, I think you will see exactly why Attorney Christina Lucchese is a great fit for this community. Appendix F is the vision of the Office of the City Attorney, and I will read this because it's short. The City of Franklin seeks a city attorney who will provide timely, practical, and well-reasoned legal advice, identify legal risks before they become legal disputes, support informed decision-making by the mayor, common council, boards, commissions, and staff, foster collaboration across departments, assist in implementing strategic initiatives and organizational improvements, maintain the highest ethical standards, promote transparency while protecting the city's legal interests, help build a culture of accountability, professionalism, and service. And finally, but definitely not least important, serve as a trusted advisor committed to the long-term success of the city of Franklin. That I think is, I think that's what we envision for this role. And again, like I said, I think we've got it right. Appendix G is the recruitment documentation index that we've gone through. So for example, posting the job description, putting it together, that was an effort of many, and it included the personnel committee. So this had been before the Personnel Committee last year, probably a few months before July, where we had gone back and forth on the job description and what would be appropriate and what we were looking for. Recruitment advertisement, again, I had stated that we put it on our website. We put it out there to the league and any other applicable sites. It's been out there for almost a year. And we've got applications that were received, candidate screening materials, structured interview questions, interview evaluation forms, panel notes, reference discussions, conditional offer, council action sheet, and resolution. I also put together a Appendix H, frequently asked questions. I hope that my report and recommendation really emphasizes the importance of your decision, and I hope that you enthusiastically welcome Attorney LaCasey to the team. And I know that, I don't want to steal any thunder, but I know that the attorney is very grateful to be able to work with Attorney Wesolowski to make sure that there's a smooth transition.
So I'll start
Did you
because there.
want me to say anything more?
No,
Okay.
no more, we're good. Oh, sorry. No, so what we're looking at this is, number one, this report you put together, this document is extremely thorough. You've covered everything. If everybody had read it, you understand more about the how and the why behind this. And this will be a transitional period where Jesse Wesolowski will stay on in as an advisement role because you have to. I mean, we are in a great position. There's institutional knowledge of over 3 decades, and a lot has got to be learned. I don't care who comes in here, it would have the same situation. I mean,
Yeah. I just wanted to add, correct, because every municipality operates differently.
okay, we're done now, Kelly. So where we're going with this is what we're saying to those electeds and to the citizens of the city of Franklin is you will be well represented. Jesse Wesolowski shall remain on as a advisor and will continue to make sure that things are going, it's as smooth as possible. And I was asked about a timeline. Well, the timeline is going to be the timeline. We don't know, but we are going to set you up for success. We are going to make sure you are included in all the trainings. Jesse is well aware of what you need to attend, and this is the mentoring that he will be doing at this point, and we will greatly appreciate that effort. And for right now, I will yield to questions from the council. Questions and comments. Mr. Salus.
A few questions, but I think few of them will be addressed to Kelly. Just like, could you please disclose to us like the number of applications received?
So it's been over almost a year. I would say that initially I wasn't receiving them directly. Our former, now retired HR manager was receiving them. And then there was an interim where I was wearing that hat and my hat, and so I was receiving some of them. And then obviously Blake, our new HR administrator, came in and now he had been receiving them. I would say that if I had to guess, probably about 20 in the year, maybe.
And you actually has interviews with the 20 candidates?
No, we've had screening.
Oh, screening.
Yep. So there were people that weren't appropriate, and, like any application that you would get, there'd be screening of deficiencies or things that stood out that you weren't interested in pursuing.
So like, the candidates that made it to at least a single interview.
Yes, we had, so like I said, I probably was December when our retired HR manager had the list of everything, and then I had taken it over. I kind of set it aside because it was more important to me at that time to get an HR person in than to worry about that. So I had to reprioritize. But to answer your question, we have actually met and interviewed quite in depth with 3 candidates.
I see. And my second question, in the information you sent to us, there was a salary spelled out there. Could you tell us like the total cost of the position? Because there is a salary is one component, but there is some additional benefits, there is social, there is.
Right, yeah. So actually I spoke with the finance director this morning, and we were talking about that, and we would still be coming in less than what we're paying right now. And I can get you that information.
But you don't have.
I think it was easily under 200,000.
That's
Easily.
with benefits. That's
With
the
the
fully
That was-
loaded
yeah.
rate. Fully
Correct.
loaded rate. Retirement, health, dental,
And
vision, everything.
the final question for Kelly is, I'm very sure you did the due diligence in terms of a background check and stuff like that.
Yep.
It's not like I suspect any.
Yeah, correct.
But you clear that. Okay, and then my question probably one question to Christina. Like it has been mentioned a lot in the report about the legal modernization. What can you explain to me what actually you planning to do? What items that, of a concern? What are we will be doing differently than what we have right now?
We talked about that briefly during the interview. We talked about that briefly, and I think what we want to do is have more of a paper trail and put more of what we have in a kind of a computerized context as opposed to where it stands now. And I haven't looked into that in detail. It was just mentioned briefly, and I knew we were on the same page about that because I have where I worked before, we had a very comprehensive communication system, so all people on staff that were involved on a project always knew what was happening at any given moment. It gave great access and up-to-date information on everything that we were working on. And so that's where we kind of clicked on access, things being up-to-date, and easy for all of us to be on the same page at the same time. So it's more like a concept now. I'm understanding what the city needs, and we clicked on that immediately, and I have some ideas as to how to do that with IT being involved. And I don't know how the IT component comes into play, but I'm sure that they do.
And my final question probably is going to go back to Kelly. Just like a little concern, we will be paying almost like for like a double pay, because, we have to compensate Mr. Wislowski for his time. And we have a new, like I feel like we'll be paying almost double salary for a while.
Yeah, so I think that the misconception is that you are anticipating that City Attorney Jesse Wesolowski would be spending every moment with hopefully City Attorney Christina Lucchese, but that would not be accurate. So, I think a lot of getting up to speed would be more about council procedures, and I think that obviously he is attending the meetings, and the thought would be that he would continue to, and until we are up to speed and running on that. From the standpoint of two salaries, that's really not accurate. The transitional period, I am comfortable leaving it up to the attorneys to determine what feels most comfortable. I think that there's a great amount of value with Jesse being here and available and being in that consultant role for Attorney Lucchese.
Like next council meeting, who will be sitting in the chair? Will be Jesse or Christina or both of them?
Yeah, yeah.
So we have to get one more chair.
Well, I guess to answer
Or
your
like,
question,
yeah.
I believe that the counselor, she would sit there if approved. Jesse would remain up here until we make that transition. Because this is very new, regardless of who would be hired at some point, you would have the exact same issue.
Correct.
No matter who, that's how we have to do it, to do it effectively and efficiently.
Thank you, I yield, I'm done.
Alderwoman Eichmann?
Thank you, Mayor. So many things that I wanted to add, but the general public here and listening at home may not think that we're asking some very important questions in hiring of such a position, but I just really want to emphasize and stress, no matter what you may read on good old Facebook or anywhere else, we had quite an in-depth special common council meeting where 5 out of 6 of us alders attended. I believe it lasted about 2 hours approximately.
The meeting was actually less than an hour, just, I think it was like 52 minutes because questions, everybody ran out of questions, but some of us, most of us stayed after to talk, and yes, it did last quite a while. Just
Right.
getting to know him. Yep.
Thank you. And then Attorney Lucchese also provided her email address, phone number, and so forth for us to ask additional questions. When Jesse first started with the city, many, many decades ago, he was not a specialist in municipal law. And look how far he's come. So I wanted to point that out. I did sit in other interviews with other candidates that we had in the past. So I can testify that those did indeed happen. And I wanted to also make the comment that Attorney Lucchese, it's going to take me a little bit to learn your name. Lucchese also has Franklin roots too. She's sat on our boards and commissions before. She's been a Franklin resident before. She's very familiar with our community as well, which is interesting. So with that, for now, I will yield. Thank you.
How long did you live in District 6 for the record?
15 years, 15 terrific years.
In D6,
You should share this.
right? Okay, further discussion on this? Questions, comments? Okay, is there a motion?
I'll make the motion to adopt resolution.
I'll second.
This will be a roll call. We have a first and a second. Roll call, please, Madam Clerk.
Alderwoman Kenny? Aye. Alderman Salus?
Aye.
Alderwoman Krestovic?
Aye.
Alderman Hassan?
Aye.
Alderwoman Eichman?
Aye.
Alderman Johnson?
Aye.
6 ayes, no noes, motion carries. Welcome.
Thank you very much.
Welcome.
I am honored.
Very happy.
Grateful.
The oath right away?
Is the oath done now?
Yes.
All right.
Yeah. She'll have you come up over.
Yeah.
I will work the camera.
After G6. After G6.
I, Edmund Daisy, having been appointed to the office of city attorney, swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of Wisconsin, faithfully and impartially discharge the duties of said office.
Hey! Well done. So moving forward, Counselor, so you'll work with Kelly and Jesse for everything moving forward for right now.
Correct.
Okay? And we'll be getting you a city cell phone. All right, we're gonna do G6 and then, if you'd like to step up, please. And then we're gonna take a break after G6. So good evening and welcome.
Hi.
If you could please state your name and business address for the record, please.
Corinne
Can you bring it forward?
Hoffman, 7044 South Ballpark Drive, Franklin, Wisconsin.
Okay. So thank you for appearing tonight. And as far as when this was being brought back, a little bit of the history. So, and I'm sorry, Chief, would you come up here, please? So what we did, and thank you, Chief, and welcome. What we did months back was looking at all the special events, permits, activities, and former alderman that was up here, started bringing up and say, hey, look, let's look at a point where we, do checkups as where we're at, how things are going, and I want to make sure that we fulfill that. There's, this is a wonderful entertainment district, and obviously we're still working through the balances of things, but this is a wonderful, wonderful area. I mean, there's so much going on. So what I'm going to do is, I know everybody's read this here, but to simply take a few questions before we go into, well, actually, why don't you start if you'd like to say something, but then this is going to be pretty brief, I'm assuming, so.
I don't have a ton to say on it. We are I believe this is week 5 we're going into with the concert series. We've had no sustained violations up to this point. I've been in constant communication with the city regarding monitors when they go down, when they're back up. There's weekly emails on complaints. So I think we're doing pretty well.
Chief, any comments on that?
That's an accurate statement.
Okay, because I know one of the things that I put out on Monday mornings, and I email the alders of the district, I email you, Mike, I chief, planning to find out, how did this past weekend go, any sustained complaints, any issues, and, chief is excellent with his sense of urgency to get these and down and to say, yeah, we had 1 or 2 complaints, they were unsubstantiated, unsustained, and we move forward. And that's also so everybody up here understands that, yes, we have our thumb on the pulse of how we're keeping track of things. And, yes, we want to trust but verify, and that's why we're doing what we're doing. So I'm going to open this up right now to questions, comments on this. It is Mr. Salus and Alderwoman Kenny.
Just like, I personally, I continue to receive complaints about the umbrella bar, and some of the comments that said to me was said, it's just like certain part of the residents who live around there, they say we are willing to live with, for example, taco and tequila because it is an event once a year. And even it could be noisy, whatever, we could they could survive that event because it's just like once in a year. But when it comes to the umbrella bar, there is a constant events that takes place all the time. And, I'm just like wondering, do you guys have any effort or communication with the ownership to do anything about sound mitigation regarding the umbrella bar only? I'm not basically talking about anything related to the taco and tequila or the games or anything else. Are you aware of any discussion of that nature?
I personally have been in communication with a few of the alders personally. They have my personal number. They can send me a text or a call if they get a complaint or a call. I look at the sound monitors. I live on the sound monitors Thursday through Sunday. So I'm constantly watching what it is at the property line. And if I do get a call or a text, or if PD comes up, we do adjust accordingly.
What is the sound level that you have been operating under?
Saturdays for the concert series is 65.
And do you feel like you could use the 65? Any possibility that could be reduced down a little bit, and hopefully that will eliminate many of these complaints?
We don't even come to the 65, so we have been operating well under that.
You're operating under the 65?
Well under that, yes.
Would it be it will sound much better for us, with the residents if we just basically stay within the 55, for example. Would you be comfortable next time around, if we say, well, let's stay with if you don't use the 65, and I hope you don't use the 65, are you somewhat comfortable with the 55 level, and that will bring us closer to compliance with our own ordinance?
I don't think we're willing to go backwards at this point, especially with the extraordinary event permit. We are doing our best on our end to operate well below that, and I think we have been upholding a pretty good standard.
And my question to the chief, how is how many complaints are we getting umbrella bar related?
I don't have the exact number in front of me. This past week, you guys had 2 events, if I remember correctly, 3rd and 4th, or at least you were permitted for 2 events. I don't know whether you had those or not.
We had fireworks on the 3rd with a DJ, just house music.
But no concert.
Saturday night we had
Okay.
a
No
concert.
complaints this last weekend from the Rock at all, which was pretty good. On average, maybe 2 to 3 complaints a weekend. None of them are sustained. So what we do is we look at the sound monitor to see what the sound monitor says. If there's no events, or it doesn't, sometimes it's hard to say whether it's working or not as far as like no events appear. Our procedures are to send an officer or sergeant up there, assuming that one's available. Obviously, it's not a high priority call, but we have taken measurements pretty much every weekend, sometimes multiple, and they've never been even close to 65.
And, you know, like, you know, if there is violation and it's the, you know, you got the complaint and there is an actual violation, is there instructions that, you know, citation be issued, or how do you handle that?
Well, you have to take a look at the permit. The permit does indicate that there's a 15-minute correction period. So if we did find that there was a violation, we would contact The Rock, probably Corinne, and tell them they have to turn the music down. But we haven't had a violation, so we haven't had to tell her to do that.
Okay, all right, okay, thank you.
Alderwoman Kenny.
Yes, thank you. I have also received some of the same complaints. I've communicated with Corinne and with Mr. Zimmerman about those complaints and shared the concerns. I have the feedback that I've gotten, and I just want to let everybody up here understand. Every weekend I've gone to both of the neighborhoods that people complain from. I've gone to people's houses. I've met with several of the neighbors. During the Tacos and Tequila event, I was kind of around the grounds and in the neighborhoods, just seeing what I could see for myself and communicating that with the business, which was very responsive that weekend, continues to be when I reach out, and I've met with them. The feedback that I've gotten from neighbors is mixed. Some of it's positive. We have people that are recognizing that changes have been made and that the baseball games are no longer an issue. People aren't complaining about that anymore. Even the Tacos and Tequila event, you know, we had complaints, but there were also people that said, hey, you know, things have gotten better. What can we do? And I think the business has been willing to work with the neighbors and build bridges and hopefully make some more accommodations like they have offered prior to my being up here. There have been instances, I think the wind direction is a big factor here that I don't know what mitigation circumstances would fix that. And I know, you know, Anthony, I forget his last name, that did this report from the Tacos and Tequila event, talked about that, and he talked about the base, which is what most of the complaints are that I've gotten about Umbrella Bar too, is just the base can be heard. So I think we have to understand that that's probably not ever going to be completely contained. And then the direction of the wind, I know one weekend I went to Greendale and you could hear it very clearly. And then I drove over to Hawthorne and you can't hear anything. The next weekend, the wind's blowing the other way. You can hear it in Hawthorne. You can't hear it in Greendale. So it's just, how, you know, how do you fix that? And I don't know that there is a way to fix that. I think we have to work on better communication is what is going to help people be more satisfied, I guess is my goal. And that's what I've been doing with the business and with the neighbors. And I hope that we can continue to do that moving forward. I yield.
Alderwoman Eichmann.
Thank you, Mayor. I just wanted to add, although I don't have the exact documentation in front of me, when some of these violations come in, for example, one weekend, a couple weekends ago, one resident who is not on Hawthorne or even within close proximity of the Rock campus contacted the Franklin Police Department 3 times. Our resources called them 3 times in the same evening because they could hear some music from their noise. So I just wanted to point that out because it is important as we're looking at these complaints and calls that come in to break them down to see if it's from, you know, multiple complaints, if they're from all different people or if they're all coming again from one same household and so forth too. So I encourage some of the alders, when you see some of that information come in, to please take a look at that as well. Well, thank you.
Anything further?
No, I'm good.
Anything else? Anyone? Okay, thank you. No action taken. Appreciate it.
Thank
I think you're back in August? Is that right?
Yeah. And we're going to break.
All right. So what we're going to do now is we'll call it 8:10 PM. Come back at 8:20 PM, please. We're going to take a break, 8:20 PM. So you can take us off the air. 8:20. Come back at 8:20. 8:20. Good point.
We have now, next.
7.
Yeah. Okay, it's 8:20 PM. We are back in open session on item G as in George, number 7, G7. In ordinance to amend 19.11 letting of birds for public construction bids for public construction projects of the municipal code of the city of Franklin to comply with amendments to Wisconsin State Statute 62.15, Public Works pursuant to 2025 Wisconsin Act 188. Who's taking this? Mr. City Attorney, you've got the floor.
All it does is make the municipal code consistent with recently adopted legislation, primarily that increase the amount of money cost that you have to proceed pursuant to the public bid process from $25,000 to $50,000. And I think for public highway construction, that went up to $25,000. And it also has requirements for notices specifically for construction projects which are less than those. And that's it.
Questions, comments from the council?
Motion
Okay.
to adopt.
I'll second.
First and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it, motion carries. G8.
I'll be abstaining.
Oh, okay. G8, agreement between GG Installations, Bartz's Flooring, and the City of Franklin for courtroom carpet replacement. Madam Director, Mr. City Attorney.
Only that this particular agreement reviewed with staff and recommendation is that the city standard form services agreement be used for this. So it would be
agreed.
A motion to approve the proposal agreement subject to preparation and approval by administration, the municipal court judge, and the city attorney of the city standard form services agreement.
Okay, that's the motion. Is there a motion on that?
So moved.
First and a second.
Can I
Roll
make-
call, please. Oh,
I just wanted to say, I mean, an updated carpet to remove pandemic-era tape residue will improve the professional appearance of the court. However, given many residents face tight budgets at home, I think it's important to be mindful of spending.
okay. Going back, first and a second, this will be a roll call vote, please.
Alderman Johnson?
Aye.
Alderman
Hold
Eichman?
on, your mic's not on.
Aye.
Not yet. Mic issue. There we go.
Aye.
Alderman Johnson?
Aye.
Alderman Eichman?
Abstain.
Alderman Hassan?
Aye.
Alderwoman Krestovic?
No.
Alderman Salus?
Aye.
Alderwoman Kenny?
Aye.
4 ayes, 1 no, 1 abstention, motion carries. G9, resolution authorizing certain officials to execute a Kayla's Playground Development Penfield Children's Center, Inc. recognition and release agreement. Mr. City Attorney, can you hit his button?
The working together by the city with Kayla's crew and Penfield created this wonderful place on earth for humanity. The short version of this, and council approved an amendment addition to the original contract at its last meeting for Michelle Runty to have some approval authority with regard to the expenditure of the donated funds, and that they be used only for enhancements to Kayla's playground development. And as part of that, putting that together process, Penfield noted that they technically have not been involved in this development for a long time. Their primary function was in effect as a fiduciary with all the donated funds back in 2015. And could they please be released so they don't have to be included on all these kind of administrative procedures that may occur down the road? And so that put together an agreement to recognize and release Penfield's Children Center from any further obligations or being a party to any further agreement with the city and Michelle Runty.
I'll make the motion to adopt.
Second.
First and a second, any further discussion?
Just a point of clarification.
Alderwoman Kresovich.
Thank you. Does that impact anything with that agreement from the last meeting?
No.
Okay, thank you.
Got a first and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it, motion carries. G10, approval of updated job description for Director of Health and Human Services. Madam Director of Administration.
Hey, this was unanimously approved by the Board of Health and also approved by the Personnel Committee. It's been a long time coming and a necessary update to the job description, especially now that the city is recognized as a level 3 for health and human services. So this job description, it aligns itself with what the actual job is now. And as I said, it was approved or I should say it was recommended for approval. I guess it was approved by both boards, but recommended for approval from the council to adopt it. This is just the job description, and actually it's kind of timing. Our Director of Health and Human Services is leaving the city, and it is absolutely imperative that we have an updated job description that aligns with the actual duties we're requesting to have performed.
So, Alderwoman, I will speak after you. You got the floor, Alderwoman Eichman.
I guess my question is this being posted as an open position at this point? Or is there still going to be some discussion of different options, such as merging with another municipality, such as the Village of Hills Corners, as many other local municipalities are merging their health departments together, or do we not know that yet?
So I would say that nothing is off the table. Everything is kind of up in the air, and we are having ongoing discussions with the current director and her interim while she was on maternity leave. So, and obviously others that are involved in the situation where we are having those ongoing conversations to determine what the best route is. I know that there's some concerns about shared services, and you know, that just off the top of my head, you're looking at once you do it, there's no disconnecting of the services. There's no going back to how it was. Another piece of it that I think is something to be mindful of is that then if you are dealing with another municipality, you're also dealing with another municipality's either village of trustees or their common council. So you're dealing with double bureaucracy, I guess, is really how I would put it. Also, my understanding is that after a certain amount of time, that grant that you get for shared services, it goes away. So it really depends on where we want to be as a city. I know that we have a health department that's phenomenal, and I know that we would like to maintain that as much as we can, with also being mindful of our spending. I think that our health department, when you look at the grants that they have and what they've done with those, I think that they've run pretty lean, especially for the services that we offer. You know, we've got a sanitarian, which is required, and that she goes out to every business. She has to make sure that everything is licensed, and we've got the vaccinations, the clinics, all of that fun stuff. And then obviously there's the extras, which I don't think anybody really wants to see go away. So we're trying to see what we can do, potentially a merging of positions and redistribution of kind of the work. So that way, potentially we could keep things as it is, have the autonomy of our health department. And that's another problem, not a problem, but that's another factor to consider, merging with another department, with shared services. You don't have the autonomy that you would normally have or desire, at least for our community.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Alderwoman Kenny?
Just to piggyback off what Alderwoman Eichman asked, if there's discussion about merging jobs, not necessarily departments, but jobs, this might change again then, and would come back to personnel and then back to us.
Correct.
Okay.
If this were the job that would be merged.
Okay.
Or some of the duties.
Thank you. I
Correct.
yield.
You're welcome.
Alderwoman Krasovich?
Thank you. I appreciate that this agenda item has no fiscal impact. Those are rare. But because personnel costs represent about a large portion of the
76
budget,
to 80% depending. Yep.
it's appropriate, I think, to periodically evaluate the level of services that we provide. Has there been a comprehensive analysis to see if we need to stay at tier 3? But another flip side, going back and forth, like with the volition grant going away, how will that position be funded? Things like that. But do we really want to give away our autonomy? Because with the tier 3, you can control your own health in your community. Whereas if we drop down, my understanding, and I could be wrong, is then we're subject to the county. Am I misunderstanding?
First of all, I want to say that we would not want to go backwards. The other piece is that we were the only city in the county that was at level 2 before we went to level 3. So we are surrounded by level 3s. I think that would be probably the wrong path. Of course, there are villages that don't have level 3. For example, Hales Corner is level 1. But we're trying to look forward and try to continue the kind of services that the community gets without breaking the bank, so to speak. The volition grant, that is, I believe, another 5 years before we have to pony up that either the salary for that person or try to figure out what the next step is for that, because I think that's brought a lot to our community. So I can't imagine that that's something the community would want to then lose.
Okay.
So it's all up in the air, really.
Okay, and then if I may just ask for clarification, are these two different jobs? Because I got two different job descriptions in my packet. One starts on 151, the other one on 158.
Yeah, so one is a redlined and one should be the final.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, just so you could see what was changed.
Okay.
That's why
And
we
then
included the redlined.
Could I ask or just clarify in case somebody read through this and has any questions? On 158, point number 3, responsible for the surveillance and control, is it the tracking health trends, mandatory disease reporting and management of the data? Is there a way to clarify that so somebody doesn't read it otherwise? Or you just want to keep surveillance?
Yeah, I think it's appropriate because that's language from, there's a lot of intermixing with the Department of Health and Human Services for the state. And a lot of requirements that we have to meet as a level 3.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, one of the things that we have been talking about, and I'll be very, very, very brief, is to keep the services at level 3. Because when this was first brought up, is, okay, we are going from a level 2 to level 3, why? What does it mean? What are the changes? What is it going to cost us? And the goal is to maintain everything as it sits, but do it more efficiently. So that's as we go into the budget cycle, well aware of where we're at with this and how that's gonna, the goal is to keep that, to use Kelly's term, which I really like, and we talked about, is redistribute work without sacrificing anything service-wise, but just do it with a redistribution. So there is a recommendation, or excuse me, a staff recommendation here for a motion. Is there a motion on this?
I've moved to approve.
Sorry, I just wanted to
Hold on.
piggyback off of
Got
what
a
you were
first,
saying.
is there a second?
I second.
First and a second, we're gonna, more discussion, ma'am?
What I wanted to say is that the distinction between level 2 and level 3 also has a distinction between how much grant money is actually available and isn't. So that's also another factor. You're welcome.
Key component, I like that. All right, we've got a first and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it, motion carries. G11, request council approval to accept a $300 public donation from the Franklin Lioness Foundation and apply this to the automated external defibrillators, AEDs, in the City of Franklin Parks Program.
Motion approved. Second.
First and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it, motion carries. G12, noise nuisance claims by Dana Gint, Joy Dringalis, the Franklin Greendale Alliance, and other similarly situated residents. Notice of injury and claim pursuant to Wisconsin State Statute 893.80, served April 15th, 2026. The Common Council may enter into closed session pursuant to Wisconsin State Statute 1985, sub 1, sub G as in George, to confer with legal counsel for the Common Council who is rendering advice concerning strategy to be adopted by the body with respect to the subject claims and litigation in which it is likely to become involved, and to re-enter open session at that same place thereafter to act on such matters discussed therein as it deems appropriate. So I'm looking, well, I'll just read the motion then verbatim. I read the intro. The motion, a motion to enter closed session pursuant to Wisconsin State Statute 1985, sub 1, sub G as in George, to confer with legal counsel for the Common Council who is rendering advice concerning strategy to be adopted by the body with respect to the subject claims and litigation in which it is likely to become involved, and to re-enter open session at that same time and same place thereafter to act on such matters discussed therein as it deems appropriate. That motion again, Alderwoman?
I'll make the motion to go into closed session.
I second.
First and a second, roll call, please.
Alderman Kenny?
Aye.
Alderman Salus?
Aye.
Alderman
Mike's in.
Kristevik?
Aye.
Alderman Hassan?
Aye.
Alderman Eichman?
Aye.
Alderman Johnson?
Aye. 6 ayes, no noes, motion carries. We are going to be slowly going into closed session. So if everybody in the, disallow the claim. I wrote it down verbatim.
That's it? You don't want to spell out the title of it?
Or the claim of Dana.
Can we open the doors, please?
This is yours, right?
Not you, 'cause you paid too much.
You don't mind stuff.
Thank you, Chief.
Please.
Danielle, do you want to get that door?
Are we, Kelly? It's 8:58 PM. We are back in open session on item G as in George 12. So as read verbatim about this nuisance claim, is there a motion to disallow the claim?
I'll make the motion.
I'll second.
We have a first and a second. This will be a roll call, please. Okay, can you hit us? Mr. City Attorney, you've got the floor.
I understand the motion with regard to disallow the claim pertains to the noise nuisance claims by Dana Gint, Joy Draginis Zingalis, the Franklin Greendale Alliance, and other similarly situated residents, notice of injury and claim pursuant to WISSTAT Section 89380.
Is that your amended motion?
It's not a,
Yes.
No, she made the motion, but now you clarified the motion, which would be amended. So she says yes
Yes.
to amended. Who made the second? Clark?
Second.
Okay, your amended second?
Agreed.
Okay, so Alderwoman Eichman is now returned to her seat at 8:59 PM. If we could, Mr. City Attorney, just, and for the Alderwoman that just returned, it was a motion to disallow the claim of the nuisance claim of Dana Gint, Joy Zingales, the Franklin Greendale Alliance, and other similarly situated residents. Notice of injury and claim pursuant to Wisconsin State Statute 893.80. I added that last part. First and a second. Roll call, please.
Alderwoman Kenny? Aye. Alderman Sluse?
Aye.
Alderwoman Crestvic?
Aye.
Alderman Hassan? Aye. Alderwoman Eichman?
Aye.
Alderman Johnson?
Aye. 6 ayes on those, motion carries. Moving forward. H1, in the matter of the complaint against HB&H LLC DBA on the border for Class B intoxicating liquor license, Class B fermented malt beverage license, entertainment and amusement license, and cigarette sold by machine license. Mr. Wessolowski, would you please take this to start? Kelly?
The subject matter is as is set forth on the council action sheet and pertains to the complaint and draft summons, which is within the council meeting agenda packet. And the statute with regard to procedure is cited on the council action sheet. There has been the filing of a complaint, and the Wisconsin statute section 125.12 sub 2 sub AR does state, upon the filing of the complaint, the municipal governing body shall issue a summons. And then it speaks in terms of setting a date for hearing with regard to the summons and complaint. And so there are two proposed motions on the action sheet. One would be to issue the summons, which would be signed and completed by the deputy clerk. And then also to schedule a special common council meeting so that it can comply with the time limits set forth within the statute. And perhaps before motions are made, discussion should be with regard to setting that special common council meeting date, and a suggestion would be for Thursday, July 16 in the common council chambers. Because that fits within the time limits there. And I believe I checked the city calendar with regard to other meetings, et cetera, and there were no other meetings on that day.
So, council, are you talking at 6:30 PM on Thursday, July 16th?
Whatever the council desires, perhaps 4 PM.
6:30.
To be consistent with other council meetings, probably.
Okay.
We'll discuss it here, I guess, as far as time, but I think 6:30 is consistent with other council meetings and kind of flows as such. Open this up for discussion right now. I'll speak last. Maybe I'll speak now.
And
Oh,
it would be set for a hearing. So it's not this meeting to get into a detailed discussion about the complaint, because the common council ultimately is the decision maker. And that decision has to be based on facts potentially presented by the complainant, as well as the licensee.
so just for clarification for anybody that's at home, so on the 16th, if this gets approved tonight to move forward, July 16th would be a hearing where we would have a presentation of fact to make a
Testimony.
decision, testimony, presentation of fact, and on the border, if they would choose to have legal representation, would be able to argue, dispute, and try to get their case formed, because everything's going to be on that date. So that date, the 16th, would be a decision day. Is that
And-
correct?
And it's whether or not, it doesn't matter whether or not the licensee chooses to have legal counsel represented.
But I'm
They
saying
can
that's a
do it
decision
either
night.
way.
It's a decision night, is my point.
Yes, unless, because of time constraints or whatever, it gets adjourned to another further meeting date.
Okay, Alderwoman?
Thank you. It's to my understanding that special counsel has to be appointed for that. Is that correct, Jesse?
Attorney Nicholas Serwin, as the council was informed, has worked with the police department in preparing the complaint and is present in the audience at this meeting along with Chief Learman.
Thank you. You still have the floor.
That's it, thank you.
I know you were waving and I got off topic. Alderman?
I'm going to wait till you talk about the dates.
Okay, so I hope everybody has had an opportunity to look at that date. Is that good? Anybody?
That's a Thursday, isn't it?
Yes.
Is that right, Jesse? Thursday?
Yes.
It's
Next week.
Thursday, July 16th at 6:30 PM. So we're going to set it. If you can't make it, you can't make it. But I'd like to know right now if we can have enough for a quorum. So let's start with
Let's-
Alderman District 1. Can you make it?
Yes.
2,
Unsure.
3.
Yes.
Mira?
Yes.
Bill?
And I have to abstain, so do I even need to be here?
No, if you're abstaining.
So we've got
Oh,
4.
you have a conflict. No.
We have 4 of the 5 that committed to yes. Hopefully 5 of 5 at 6:30 PM she can make it here. But we would have enough for a quorum and I can be here as well. So let's go with Thursday, July 16th at 6:30 PM for the hearing.
In the Common Council chambers.
Right here in the Common Council chambers. Yes.
Okay, well, then, there are 2 motions. The first one is stated on the council action sheet, and that is a motion to issue a summons for in the matter of the complaint against HB&H LLC DBA on the border for Class B intoxicating liquor license, Class B fermented malt beverage license, entertainment and amusement license, and cigarettes sold by machine license.
Motion to move.
Is there a second?
Second.
I'm going to use, these will be all roll call votes, please, because there's an abstention, all right?
Alderman Johnson,
Can you turn her mic on, please?
Yes.
Hold on. Hold on.
Alderman Eichman,
Aye.
Alderman Hassan,
Aye.
Alderman Kresovic,
Aye.
Alderman Salus.
Aye.
Alderwoman Kenny.
Abstain due to conflict.
5 ayes, 1 abstention, motion carries. Second motion, sir, would you like to read it?
A motion to schedule a special common council meeting for July 16, 2026, commencing at 6:30 PM in the common council chambers at City Hall for appearance and potential hearing in the matter of the complaint against HB&H LLC DBA on the border for Class B intoxicating liquor license, Class B fermented malt beverage license, entertainment and amusement license, and cigarettes sold by machine license.
Is there a motion?
I'll make the motion.
Is there a second?
I second.
Second by Alderman Salus. This is a roll call again.
Alderwoman Kenny,
Abstain?
Alderman Salus.
Aye.
Alderman Kresovic,
Aye.
Alderman Hassan,
Aye.
Alderman Eichman,
Aye.
Alderman Johnson.
Aye.
5 ayes, no nos, 1 abstention for the meeting to take place on July 16th at 6:30 PM in the Common Council chambers. Okay. The rest of licensing. Who is taking that?
I'll be taking licensing this evening, Mayor.
All right, Alderwoman Eichman, you've got the floor.
Just give me 1 moment, please. All right, License Committee met this evening. In regards to the first operator, they were approved. We had 2 approve with 1 abstain. The third operator for on the border, we would like to hold for further discussion with the city attorney. Sean Murphy approved with a letter. Speedway approved pending inspection. The last 3 on the first page were approved. As we go to page 2 of 3, the first 3 were approved. The operator for Iron Mike's, we would like to hold for further discussion with the city attorney. The rest on page 2 were all approved, and everything was approved on page 3.
Is there a second? You making the motion?
Second.
Yes.
Seconded by Alderman Johnson. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it, motion carries. Moving on to vouchers and payroll, this will be a roll call with the 3 points. Number one, city vouchers with any date of July 2nd, 2026, the amount of $1,975,536.82. Point two, payroll dated June 26, 2026, the amount of $480,239.11. And payments of the various payroll deductions in the amount of $695,344.57 plus city matching payments. And point three, estimated payroll dated July 10th, 2026, in the amount of $479,000 and payments of the various payroll deductions in the amount of $284,000 plus city matching payments. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Point of clarification, please.
Hold on. We got a first. Is there a second?
I second.
First and second for the discussion. Alderwoman Kresovich.
This is all already owed, right? So then why are we taking three separately? I guess I didn't understand that.
Why are we taking 3 separate points? Because it's 3 separate dates.
Okay.
So, I mean, we can, that's something we can discuss.
Okay.
Okay, so we need a roll call, please.
Alderman Johnson.
Aye.
Alderman Eichman.
Aye.
Alderman Hassan.
Aye.
Alderwoman Kresvic.
Aye.
Alderman Salus.
Aye.
Alderwoman Kenny.
Aye.
6 ayes on those, motion carries. Motion to adjourn.
Motion
to
to
adjourn.
adjourn.
First, second, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Ayes have it.